Uh, so so India is known for its diversity and for its culture and for uh, all the traditions and festival. So I will start with how we greet each other. So we greet by saying namaste, by joining our hands and bowing and bowing in the divine in the front. To I mean like bowing in the divine of you. So I say namaste to all of you, and I'm really happy again to be here presenting about my country. So recently we have surpassed China in population. So now we are like 1. Over 1.4 billion. We have 22 official languages where Hindi is quite popular. Otherwise, we have regional languages. It depends on which state you are from, where you belong. So we have Tamil, Bengali, Marathi, Punjabi, and all 22 official languages having 1600 dialects. And so whenever you go like 100 kilometers in any direction in India, you will find a different spice, a different culture, different clothing. Everything is different. So in every 100 kilometer, you'll see diversity. You will see different culture, which is really interesting about here, India. And we believe in Atiti Devo Bhava, which means we treat guests like God. So if you ever go to a Indian house, no matter how humble they are, they will treat you with endless of chais, a warm smile, and a lot of food, even with an insistence to have one more, have one more cup, or have a lot, like eat one more time. So we believe in treating guests like a god. And uh, this is about the country as a whole. But in terms of religion also, we have several religions. We are like, I am a Hindu. We have Buddhism, Jainism, Sikh people, and then we have Christians, Muslims. So uh, there is, like, you will see a mosque, a church, a gurudwara, and a temple on, like, in 5 kilometers, and you will see all of us respecting each other's culture and respecting the rules and regulations, and we all exist in peace. And similarly, cuisine, it varies from the region where you belong. So I live in the middle part of India, but if you go to the north side, you will find people eating a lot of bread made of wheat. So when we go grocery shopping, we buy like 10 kg of flour, 20 kg of flour, because we eat a lot of wheat. We make a lot of rotis, parathas, and yeah, we consume a lot of wheat. And in the south, you'll see they eat a lot of rice. They make curries, coconut. They use a lot of rice in their food. So yeah, the spices also, and the preparation style is also very different. It depends on which, from north to south, east to west. And even the clothing, it differs. So in some places they prefer more saris. In some places they wear a dupatta and a kurta pajama, and in some places they wear lehenga, like so the clothes are also very different. It depends on which state we are, or what culture they belong to, or what caste or religion they belong to. So now I will move to my town. So I live in the heart of India, you can say. So my state is in the middle of India, and it is the capital, and which is also in the middle of the state. So I live in the heart of India in Bhopal. It is actually famous for its lakes, its nature, and it was made by a king whose name was Raja Bhoj. So the name, the name is on him, like it's called Bhopal. And we have a mix of architecture here. Previously, Mughals used to be here, so we have like Mughal palaces and places like that. We also have modern streets, and you will see wide roads, green spaces when you go to the new city. Other than that, we have like a very famous, one of the largest mosque of Asia, Tajul Masajid, which is very beautiful, and a lot of tourists come here to see that as well. And yeah, as I told, it is in the heart of India. So culturally and geographically, it is a fun fact. So I've added some pictures of my city. So you can see the Raja Bhoj statue at the left side. He's standing whenever you enter my city by road, you will see him standing like in the beginning of the city. So yeah, he's Raja Bhoj, and this is then we have Tajul Masajid. It is really huge and a very famous, like the largest mosque of Asia. The photo says different, and then you see a photo of the old Bhopal, and then the new city. Um, then the dish. Actually, my state. We have this famous breakfast that we eat. It is called poha, and it is really healthy as well and light on stomach. It is steamed flattened rice where you can add some, turmeric, mustard seed, curry leaves. Also, you can add peas, groundnuts. It depends on your choice, and it is really very popular here. If you go in the morning around 5 or 6, you will see on the streets people, have this as a breakfast. And the way of making it is it depends on the household as well. So my mother, when she used to make, she used to add like a little bit sugar and curry leaves also. So it depends on the taste of the person. But yeah, it is a very popular breakfast, and I really enjoy it. And it's a tradition. Whenever you go to anyone's place, you can two things they will offer you here in my state. One is chai, and other thing is poha. It is very quick to make and very good and very tasty too. And yeah, how can I forget if I talk about food? So uh, we actually joke here around, like we say, if we get a blood test report in Indians, you can find masala in our blood also, masala chai in our blood also. We drink that much chai from the time we wake up to the time we go to sleep. We need no reason to have chai. It's not a drink for us, it's an emotion. So if you are sad, we drink a tea. If you are happy, we drink a tea. If you have guests, we have a tea. It's that much famous. And yeah, we add spices in it, like ginger, cardamom, cloves. And also you can it is pretty flexible. You can add whatever spices you want as per your choice. So yes, it is India's favorite obsession and my favorite too. So yes, so chai is also a very important part. Now I come about discussing now I am talking about, now if I talk about festivals. So India, every other day is a festival here. It depends and on our religion, on our caste as well. But every other day, you will see on the calendar there is something, some fast, something. But my one two festivals are really famous: Diwali and Holi. One of my favorite is Diwali because it is full of lights, and you see wherever you go, you'll see the brightness, and it gives a lot of positivity. Also, it is a symbol of uh, victory of good over evil. So it is whenever it's Diwali, we used to buy a lot of sweets, we buy new clothes, we go to our relatives, we buy like crackers, because you can burst as much as you can, no matter what government, what rule you have for saving the environment. People just burst a lot of crackers. And it is also one of my favorite festivals because he on that day, as a Hindu family, we worship Lord Goddess Lakshmi, which is the god of money. So we assume that she comes to our house on the day of Diwali and bless us with a lot of abundance, prosperity, money. So we decorate our house for her welcoming, and you see the design in like the first picture. It is called a rangoli. So you see outside, every house they make it from dry colors, different designs, flowers. And it is very traditional thing for to do in Diwali. And then we light diyas everywhere in the house, nearby. And it's really fun. And the next festival is Holi, which is again the festival of colors. Here you will see people. Actually, some people nowadays started wearing white clothes. But when we were little, our parents used to give us old clothes, because the colors that we use during this festival can last for a week. Also, they are really sometimes they are very toxic. So sometimes people used to apply such harsh colors on our face that we used to go school with pink faces, brown faces. it used to not it doesn't get off so easily. Also, it is messy, beautiful, but we enjoy a lot. We dance on the street, we eat a lot, we meet friends, and it's a fun festival. And we have one common sweet in both the festivals that we make. It is called gujia. Also, it is a tradition. We specially make this sweet on Diwali and Holi because it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of efforts. Plus, just before the day of the festival, all of the family gathers. We make it in large quantities so that we can distribute to friends, neighbors. It's like the traditional dessert, and so we all sit together in the night where our parents used to make the dough and make the filling, and the children used to cover the sides. So it is a fun activity to do during the festivals. So these are the two festivals of India. If I talk about traditions, so I there are many traditions. If I talk about it, they are endless. We have so many rules, traditions. But the one that I would like to share with you is first is touching the feet for of elders. So we seek this for blessings. So whenever we touch their feet, they always give us blessings like for live long, to be happy. And also, it is believed that whenever you touch the feet of someone elder, you can get the good traits of that person. So it is a kind of respect, and also it you can get positivity also from doing that. And then we have a rule that we remove our shoes whenever we go to anyone's house or temples. And even in temples, we wash our hands too, because when we remove our shoes, our hands get dirty. And because to maintain the sacredness of that place, to maintain the hygiene, and to show the respect to the god and temple, we wash our hands too. And other thing is applying a tilak or bindi. So we have like a lot of I so bindi is basically worn by the ladies who are married, but nowadays we have so many colors, so many designs. Even unmarried ladies also wear it, but especially the red dot on the head that you see Indian women wearing, it also symbolizes the third eye of the Shiva. It helps you, have that spiritual connection or wisdom. So men, they put a tilak like here, and women put bindi, especially when we wear the traditional wear. I'm not wearing it today, but yeah, I also like wearing it. And last but not the least, I really the phrase that I like about that we have here is Vasudev Kutumbakam, which it is a Sanskrit phrase, and it was also the theme of G20 that we hosted here this time. It means that the world is one family. We consider the whole world as one family, and we see beyond religion, race, color, language, and we treat everyone as like a larger human family. And I think it is a perfect it is a perfect message for a team as global as ours that we have in Cometric. So despite of our different locations, our different languages, our different work, we are still together, working, learning, and building something so great. So yeah, this is from my side for now. I have uh, that's all that I have. And if you ever visit India, so I would like to be your I would I would like you to be my guest, and I would also like to help you with my chai recipe or poha recipe if you want to. And I'm again thankful for giving me this opportunity to share my culture with you. And thank you very much. That's all from my side.
Thank you so much, Harpita. It was really wonderful. I think there are a lot of fans of masala chai, like Yulia said, and many others. It was really amazing what you shared with us. You shared so much amazing things that I'm sure that a lot of people will start considering visiting India and being your guest. It was really amazing. Does someone have any questions?
if you have any questions anytime, feel free to reach out. I would be happy to be your remote culture, remote guide.
Yeah.
Or
How did you call the god of money? What's his name?
Lakshmi, goddess Lakshmi.
I was not aware.
Does it work?
Of
Yes,
course.
we have. Yes, it works. Yes. So
I would like to give a try.
yes, we actually, especially on Diwali days, we have some, how can I say? It's like some small things that we do to attract abundance and uh, things. Yeah, I can share that with you.
And
This
Harshita, I have a quick question. Your presentation was really great. Really enjoyed it. What do you think is the most common misperception about India?
I think still so many people thinks about the way they have seen India in the Slumdog Millionaire. They just want to see like the uh, dirt around. They just want to see how mostly the bad things, and how the how we are associated with snakes, and the country. They have a lot of disbeliefs, and they don't know how the country is now, and how advanced and how progressing this country is these days. So I think yeah, lots of people still believe that we are snake charmers, and we live in like dirt, and we live in like slums, and they just want so many people come here to see that only. And when we show them that the India can be like this also, they get surprised that like how
Mhm.
the country can be this beautiful as well.
Yeah. Thanks.
Oh shit! I was waiting for a slide on the cricket. I was fully expecting a cricket one to come up because, of course,
Yes.
because you, Pakistan, England, Australia, we all love cricket so much. Technically, by fans around the
Oh,
world, cricket
I
is
missed
the
it.
second most watched sport in the world.
Yes,
But then
yes.
you've got Americans just like, what is it again? You play a sport for 5 days? It's like, yeah, it's fantastic. I won't
Yes,
mention.
I forgot to add it.
Oh,
There was
I
so
won't
much.
mention. I won't mention the score from our Test match last week, though. So.
Oh, you're
Okay.
playing cricket.
Oh, we won the
Oh.
first test against India, but again, we move on. We don't have to mention.
I'm not that big fan of cricket. That's why I think I forgot about
Fair enough.
adding it.
Fair enough.
Yes.
Amazing.
I hope you know who Virat Kohli is.
Yes, obviously. He's the national crush of India.
Yeah, here in Pakistan as well.
Yes.
Okay, who
Thank you so
wants to
much.
go next? Matt, do you wanna take the floor?
I can, but I feel we've had a really highbrow, emotional presentation from Harshita, and now there's mine, which is bringing the bar down somewhat. But yeah, sure, why not? So when you approach to say, can you do something on culture? I mean, it's a strange one. British culture, we're very self-deprecating. It's we like to sort of take the mickey out of ourselves. But something I've noticed, because obviously at Cometric our business language is English, and sometimes I'll say a phrase. I said it recently to someone. I was talking about a client who walks to the beat of their own drum, which is a saying that we say. And that person in the Bulgaria office was like, "What on earth are you talking about? What drum?" So, oh no, I mean they just make up their own rules, because we've got so much metaphor in the English language. And of course, my partner, her first language is Dutch. So quite often I'll say something which to me makes perfect sense. And they're like, what is that? What on earth are you talking about? So I was going to do a few slides on our use of metaphor and where it comes from, because a lot of it comes from one very specific place. Let me just share my screen on there. On there. And let's just put that in presentation mode. Okay, you guys can all see this, okay? Yeah, perfect. Right. So, and do shout out for this, because I want to get a bit of, if you're aware of some of these phrases I'm going to go through. But basically, so much of our metaphor that we use in the English language comes from our obsession with our naval past, despite the fact none of us really care about our current navy. But of course, if any of you go to London at any point, you can go to London Bridge and see the Golden Hind, which is on the left-hand side there in Dry Harbour. You've got Shakespeare's Globe just around the corner. Of course, you can go to Trafalgar Square and see Nelson, or an area I know Spiros knows well. If you go to Greenwich, you can see the Cutty Sark, which is on the right-hand side. Just past that, you've got the Maritime Museum, which is really interesting and really cool. But again, it's become, our naval past has become the richest source of our use of metaphor in the English language. So I'm just going to run through some, because there's some that I'm aware of. There's some I found out myself, actually, which I didn't realise, that it all stems from our naval past. So we'll start off with a really easy one. So we've all probably worked or known someone who we call a loose cannon. And I hope you're all probably on the same page as me. Someone who is a loose cannon can be somewhat unpredictable, perhaps not quite knowing what they're going to do from one day to the next. My favourite loose cannon, of course, Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon. So, and this is a bit of an obvious one. Of course, it can be traced back to naval times when literally you had a cannon on your ship and you're going to fire, probably at the French back then, or the Spanish, as we tended to do, because we're all friends now. But if you had a cannon that was loose and the ropes had come off, well, clearly that cannon's going to shoot and it's going to go everywhere and it could damage your ship, it could damage your sailors. So the term, or that person's a bit of a loose cannon, stems back to them. I think we probably all know that one, right? Loose cannon. The next one, and I think the picture gives it away. If someone was to come up to you to say, "You, sir, are 3 sheets to the wind," anyone want to hazard a guess as to what they're talking about? It's a bit of a clue in the picture.
You're drunk.
Absolutely. How dare you, sir? But that's
Smashed.
exactly true. We have more ways to describe being drunk probably than many other words in the English language. But 3 sheets to the wind. The late great Oliver Reed, British actor, big drinker there. And again, it's a naval term. I think I heard Spiros earlier on the call, so he might call me out on this. Because the definition was if the sails were loose and blowing around in the wind, of course your boat's going to lurch from side to side, rather like a drunk person. So hence why the term back then, or 3 sheets, that boat's 3 sheets to the wind, that person is 3 sheets to the wind. I did read that a sheet is not a sail. I don't know if Spiros can confirm or deny that. Again, this is my lack of knowledge about our naval history.
Everything that moves, every rope that moves horizontally on a boat is
Yeah.
called a sheet, and every rope that moves vertically is called a halyard.
There we go.
Yeah.
That is why you are the captain, Spiros. You know this stuff. And I'm sure you've never been 3 sheets to the wind on your boat. In other areas, I'm sure that probably has happened once or twice. So 3 sheets to the wind. Right. Anyone take a get? And again, bit of an obvious one, this next one. If someone was to tell you to pipe down, what does that mean?
Go quiet.
To be quiet. It's a bit of a rude way to say be quiet. Someone say to you, just pipe down. Again, back in the naval times, there was the bosun, who was the ship's officer, who had a whistle. So he was the guy that would go around the ship, bossing people around, blowing the whistle, telling them, giving them orders to the crew. Now, apparently, at the end of the day, the last thing he would do is to get the crew of the ship, obviously, into their quarters, and he'd issue the last command of the day, which was pipe down, which basically means, right, that's it. I don't think it physically meant put your pipe down, although in my head that makes sense. But smoking on a boat probably wasn't a good idea back then. But it was just, everyone, what you're doing, put your bottle of rum down, pipe down, it's time for bed. So that's now just, it's stayed with us, despite the fact, obviously we don't go out sailing with our children, but I will tell them to pipe down at the end of the night when I want them to be quiet. So another example of our naval language, which has continued through. Now, this next one, I didn't realise this one. This is quite interesting, I find. Slush fund. Now, to me, slush fund is kind of a modern phrase. It's linked with post-war economy and finance. And again, what do we mean by slush fund? Hopefully most people know it's a funds which are not appropriated to a certain task or project or whatever it may be. It's just a set of funds which sits there. Different from a contingency. That's if a project goes wrong, there's a contingency. This is just a fund which hasn't yet been appropriated to a specific task. I didn't realise. Oh, sorry. Someone, yeah.
Sorry, just if I understand it in the right way, I think we have a phrase which maybe could describe better that wording of slush. White money for black days. Am I correct?
I've never heard that, but I like it.
Or
We
was
have
it
it
the
here, yeah.
opposite? Or was it the opposite? I'm sorry, I'm a bit confused on
No,
the
you're
wording.
correct.
it's quite correct. It's mean to save when tough times come.
Ah, I mean, it's pretty much the same. Interesting thing with this, though, I don't. If anyone hazard a guess as to where this comes from, it's a bit random.
Ships.
Well, yes, that is the. Well done. You're paying attention.
Yay!
I mean, it is, but it comes from the ship's cooks. Now, apparently, the cooks were obviously given the role of the cook. Normally, for the sailors that had lived a bit of a hard life, had some injuries, or perhaps couldn't carry out the main physical roles that they needed to do, so they're given the role of cook. When they cooked the food, it was fat, salty meat, and the fat would drip out, and they would collect this, and they called it the slush. So it's literally the salty fat which come off of the meat that the sailors would then eat. They could collect this slush, let it go hard, and every time they went to a port, they could actually sell this slush to candle makers and various other people that needed the slush. And it was a given that the captain of the boat didn't need to see it. This is just your slush fund. You collect the fat, you can sell it in the ports, and you can go and spend it on whatever you want. You can probably imagine what they spent it on, being in ports around the country back then. But that was the gig. You get to keep that. So again, when someone says, I've got a bit of a slush fund, it goes all the way back to the naval terms, and literally the cook's keeping the fat to sell, which I didn't know. So interesting one for me. No, I use this quite a bit. And even in the UK, some people say, what on earth are you talking about? If someone's swinging the lead, any ideas as to what they're doing?
Well, we have Pernik, so we always thought that swinging the lead is something, coming from this city, hitting someone with a pipe or something.
Not quite as literal as that, but I can see your linear thinking there. If someone's swinging the lead, I mean, if you look at the chap there, he's got solitaire on his PC. It's when someone is pretending to do some work when they're not actually doing some work. So I've said it a few times in the past, I was just swinging the lead over there. And again, back in naval times, to take the depth of the ocean where the boat is, sailors would have rope with knots in it. And every knot, one knot, the space between two knots was 1 fathom. And they had a lead weight at the bottom. And they'd throw this overboard and then have to feed it down until it hit the seabed. And then they'd call out what the depth was. Quite often, apparently, they would just lean over the boat, swing the lead back and forth to give the impression they're doing it, and just call out random numbers because it was a bit of a pain to actually do it. So that became known as swinging the lead. And my favorite modern version of this is if someone's a security light, which basically means they only work when you go near them. They go off. More modern interpretation. Right, now, this is my favorite one because there's still some debate about whether this is true or not. But even if it's not, it's still a great story. So the word posh. Now, I think this can mean very different things depending on who you're talking to. It's not about being rich, because you can be very rich and not posh at all. But it's we're obsessed by class in the UK. So it's what we look at as the upper classes. You've got 3 very posh actors here. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Obnoxious?
No, because you can be posh and polite.
Oh, okay.
Like the royal family are very posh. They talk all like this.
Matt, I think this term became extremely popular when Victoria Beckham,
No.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they
Posh
used to call her,
Spice.
yeah,
But here's the irony. She's not posh. She just called herself posh. But if you hear her talk and she's no. But again, it can mean a lot of different things. I mean, for me, posh, if you can say a place is posh, like go to the Ritz is very posh. But there's a great story about how this come about. And it comes from the fact that when we the British, would sail to India, or other destinations, I'm sure, I think they come from the India route, the most desirable cabins when we went out were on the port side. So when you went out, it was port. And when you sailed back, the most desirable cabin, so you had a view of the coastline, was on the starboard. So people that had tickets for these more perhaps expensive, more desirable cabins, port out, starboard home, which spells out posh. So they'd have posh written on their tickets. Again, there's still some debate whether this actually is where the word posh comes from, but even if it isn't, I still think it's a great story. So port out, starboard home is posh. But that segues me very neatly into a slide I had to get in, of course. My football team is called Peterborough United. Don't look them up, they're very small, we're in League One. But our nickname is the Posh. And if you've ever been to Peterborough, it really is not a posh city. So it's a bit of a, why are we called this? Well, on the left-hand side there's some rather splendid gentlemen with moustaches and a bowler hat. So it actually was quite posh back then. This is Fletton United in, I think that's 1906. Fletton's a small area of Peterborough. Actually, lots of Italians moved to Fletton post-World War II to work in the brickworks there. The football team is called Fletton United. It expanded. It became Peterborough and Fletton United, and then Peterborough United. And, oh, I've not got the text up. In 1921, our manager, called Pat Tyrrell, was just interviewed by a local newspaper about the football team. And for some reason, when they said, what are you looking to do with this team? He said, well, I need more posh players for a posh team. And still to this day, no one really knows what on earth he was talking about. But that just stuck. So our manager said one thing in 1920, he called us posh. And fast forwarding to, that's us winning the EFL trophy, which we've now won twice in a row, which is a lower league trophy at Wembley. We're still known as the Posh. Our mascot is this chap, Mr. Posh. We do have to replace him every few years because they keep dying. Of course, they're old guys. So there's Mr. Posh, and then one of the worst puns, man dressed as a rabbit. His name is Peterborough. Of course, we're Peterborough. He's Peterborough. But interesting use of the word posh. I've not touched on Posh Spice at all there. And that does bring us to the bitter end of this presentation. Of course, the bit being what we're looking at there on a harbour, and then boats would come in and attach themselves. And when you ran out of rope, you're at the bitter end. So again, another example of these naval terms that we still use in our language today. So there we go. A little thing I found interesting, and not quite as highbrow as Harshita's beautiful presentation, but something a bit different for a Friday.
It was extremely interesting. I didn't knew most of them.
Oh, there's many more. The one I took out, there's not enough room to swing a cat. Have you heard of this phrase?
Never.
Okay. If you go into a small, cramped place, people go, oh, it's so small in here, there's not enough room to swing a cat. People think, what, you mean get a cat by its tail and swing it round?
But who
Because
does
it's
also
no one does that. No one in England does that. Okay. It's a bit of a nasty one. There was a whip on a ship called a cat o' nine tails, which was had 9 strands, and then people that misbehaved were whipped with this cat o' nine tails. So that's where the cat in that phrase, it's not an actual cat, it's a whip. It's someone saying, oh, there's not enough room here for me to hit you with this thing. I took that one out as if we don't need a visual representation on that on Friday. But there's plenty more. So if you go Googling, there's loads of phrases you can have a look at.
Thank you
If
so
I
much.
if I start talking about these things, Matt, this session will not be enough. Like I can talk for hours. But the way we drive, or you guys drive in the UK, is becoming exactly because of shipping and boats, right? That's why UK and some other countries are driving the opposite direction than continental Europe, for instance. That's because of shipping, you have the Greenwich meridian, which is 0.0 in the globe. So its empire back in the time had its own 0.0, like the Spaniards, the Portuguese, the Dutch, and the Brits. And because the English Navy actually was the strongest and it kind of prevailed, that's why Greenwich meridian zone, it's 0.0 for the globe. When you saw this image about the guys measuring the depth of the seabed, they used to do exactly the same to count the speed. So they used to tie knots on a rope, and depending on how fast the boat will move on the water, the knots will come out of the water. That's why you have the knot, which is the mile per hour, as a speeding measurement.
I'm
And also those
impressed.
knots were...
Apologies.
Sorry, Galia.
No, I was just saying that I'm impressed of Spiro's naval knowledge. Just really impressed.
And also, Spiros, I believe, because each space between a knot is a fathom. So that's where we get the phrase, I'm going to fathom this out, means I'm going to work this out. It comes back to that as well.
I will say this as a last thing. Maybe you guys have watched some movies when an English Navy officer walks in a bar and starts offering drinks to everyone in the bar. Then he gets them drunk and makes them sign, right? In order to make them sailors.
Mm.
This was mainly because the English soon enough worked out that if the Spaniards or the Dutch or the Portuguese start building boats, they will have an issue. So they came up with this method, number 2 and number 3 times 2, which means that if the second largest power of the time and the third largest power of the time could unite their boats, we, the English, should have double the fleet, right? So they start building boats like crazy, and then they ran into this problem that they could not find men to run the boats. So they start going into bars and all these dodgy places back then and start recruiting people to become sailors.
Do you know what that was called, Spiros?
Um,
It's called press ganging.
yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, let's draw a line under the naval talk.
That was really interesting, though. Okay, Masha, I see you on the camera with your amazing outfit. Do you want to go next?
Sure, of course. Just a heads up, I did not use the corporate template. I guess I did the most Gen Z thing. I used Canva because just seeing all the templates, it looks very polished, and I did not do that. So just a
Okay,
heads up.
we'll
Oh,
forgive you
no.
this one time.
Okay, let me share the screen. All right. Okay. Something right now. And I will take you guys through the food journey in Ukraine today. I'm also, if you notice, I'm wearing little outfit that I believe me, I usually don't dress up like this when I'm at home. So that's I'm a even stand up and do a little swirl. So that's a traditional shirt. It's, I guess, a lot of people in Bulgaria would also sort of recognize it. It's similar. It has embroidery. Usually it's made from linen, and every single region in Ukraine is also going to have its own thing. I didn't have mine for a long time, but I got it, and recently people just started wearing it out as a more casual thing rather than just a not a costume, but a more, traditional holiday celebration. So taking you through the food culture, I really wanted to just point out the fact that I guess Ukraine really has been in the news recently, not for the good reasons, partially so. And it's, it's a lot of, I feel like if we dive in just a bit, it's a lot about the culture and how the two countries, they're different, and the language and the everything. But when we think about any culture, I think a big part of it is food, because that's how people survived through years and years. And also that's how I mainly just remember, if I travel elsewhere, what country feels like, how country tastes like. So I want to, that's some magic right here. I want to point out a couple of traditional dishes that we usually have. The main one is a soup. It's a very veggie soup. It has beetroots, it has carrots, veggies, and you can see it right here. Also a thing with us, just like Bulgarians add cheese, sirene, to a lot of stuff, we add sour cream to everything. So be it soups, be it dumplings, be it hash browns, be it anything, just because it's the savory taste that makes the other dish taste pop up more. Another thing that we do a lot of times is dumplings. So, and dumplings can be also with everything, but my favorite ones are with sour cherries. And of course, they're gonna come with sour cream. And the last thing that we can also add sometimes to the soup is a garlic bread, just because, I mean, how can someone resist a good loaf of garlic bread? And it always goes well with soups. And one thing that I really wanted to point out today is my grandma's recipe of not only dumplings, but these are steamed dumplings. So that's a very hardcore recipe for lovers of food, because you need to steam it. And the way that you need to steam it is you use like a thin cheesecloth over a pan of boiling water. You put the dumplings, you cover them with the lid. And because the dough itself is done with kefir or like with a fermented yogurt, they're gonna start rising up. So they're gonna be airy. And you do them with, you make them with sour cherries, and you're gonna sprinkle some sugar on top. And of course, you're gonna have sour cream. But here is a bit of a visual representation. I found it on TikTok.
Are you
But that's-
able to make that?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I already have an idea for the next engagement idea in the office.
Well, ideally, if we all were together, it's, again, we would all try it. I did have an idea of actually showing you how to make it, but then I just figured that 10 minutes won't be enough. But just to show you what it looks like, and so that you can envision the delicious taste of it. It's going to be a bit, you can also make it with strawberries, you can also make it with different berries. You can also just boil them. But that's if you don't feel like spending 3.5 hours of making the dumplings. So because it's a lot, every recipe, I feel like every recipe the families have, they pass them down with generations in order to keep not only the culture, but also the family traditions of making it. Because these dumplings, you cannot make them by yourself. Usually you use child labor, you use grandkids, you make them all do that, and it's usually during the summer. And that's why I also decided to use this as an example, because right now it's summer, so I associate it very much with the dish. And the last thing that I just wanted to point out is that, well, due to the war, a lot of people moved out, and they also moved out elsewhere abroad, establishing their own restaurants, cafes. And there are a couple that I found in Sofia, in Bulgaria, that I really enjoy. And I just feel like I need to share them with you guys. And the first one is just a sushi place, but it's a great sushi place. And there are also cinnamons. And if you see on the picture, they're very fatty, very big. And I can never eat one in a single time. I usually split it, but it's a nice, it could be a nice lunch and dinner and breakfast and a snack, I guess. And the last few are bakeries, where you can find just traditional Ukrainian stuff, as well as just the cakes, macaroons, and everything else. Well, that would be all from me today.
Where is
Thank
this
you.
place again?
Well, so the cinnamons is actually in the center of the city.
Grappa.
Yes.
I've been there. It's really good. It's really famous too. I hear there's like lines all the time.
Yes. Yeah, it's very good. I remember even one day they had in Ukraine, there was a celebration of the vyshyvanka, of the national costume, of the embroidery short, and they were giving 50% off to anyone who comes wearing this. And my boyfriend just came in the apartment, in the door, being like, "Do you happen to own a shirt so that we can get 50% off for everything?" So it is very nice, and I encourage you guys to try it.
Thank you
Okay.
so much. It really looks amazing.
Thank you.
And yeah, what you mentioned about how the recipes are passed down in the family with the child labor. Yeah, that's how I got my grandma's pancakes recipe too. So similar. Okay.
Maria, I just noticed, is this the traditional dress or costume you're wearing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, I'm dedicated. I did not use the presentation, the template, but I used the country's template.
Okay, amazing. Who wants to go next? Vladi, you want to say something? Oh, she's raising the head because she's clapping. Okay, who'd like to go next?
Okay, I can go.
We are all yours, Munib.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Most of you already know me. For the new ones, I'm Munib. I'm based in Islamabad, Pakistan. So let me share a few things that you might not already aware. Let me share my screen. Can you see?
Yeah, if you can only, yeah, perfect. Go ahead.
Okay. Okay, that's good. Okay, so not in comparison to India or China, which obviously are much more bigger countries, but still, Pakistan is a huge country, and it is quite diverse, both in terms of people and in terms of geography as well. Up in the north, which is probably the most majestic area of our country, it is also call it as the roof of the world, which is birthplace to the one of the highest mountains in the world. So I guess there are 14 mountains which are the largest in the world, which are more than 800 meters from sea level. And 5 of those are located in the upper region of Himalayas, Karakoram, and Hindu Kush. The prominent ones are K2, Nanga Parbat, and Broad Peak. It attracts a lot of foreign tourists who goes for summit. Pretty dangerous, I guess. Then these peaks obviously give birth to 5 large rivers, which fertiles our land down in the Punjab region, which is quite rich with agriculture. Then down in the south, we have deserts, pretty warm beaches. So it's a lot diverse. Up there, we have really cold temperatures, and down in the south, it goes at just that we were discussing yesterday, that it in some regions it is like 50 degrees Celsius, and in some regions it is sub-zero temperature. So as with the geography, the people are also pretty diverse. So we have different languages, different cultures, different traditions. This is just a sort of glimpse of different cities of Pakistan. So I live in Islamabad, which probably is a lot cleaner and greener as compared to other cities. So these first 2 pictures are of Islamabad. The third one is from Karachi, which is the port city, the economic hub of Pakistan, and it is very densely populated. The fourth one is the desert area called Cholistan. I never visited this area. I'm more into mountains. So later in the presentation, I will share some of the pictures that I took with my family and all the places I have visited. This one is the Gwadar port, which is another deep sea port, and we are developing it with in association with China. The 6th one is the picture of K2. This is the second highest mountain in the world. It is also known as the Killer Mountain. It is known that every 1 person die here out of 4. So this is really steep, but it is one of the icon of our country. When it comes to food, we eat a lot, and we eat a lot of meat. I know this is something synonym with almost all the people around, because everyone loves eating. But we have high consumption of beef, lamb, chicken. I mean, you name it. And it is so funny that even some of the less popular events, like political or religious events, when they are advertised, it is specifically mentioned that food is being served just to attract people. This is how much we eat. And because of the varying temperature, we produce one of the best fruits in the world, especially mangoes, oranges, cherries, apple, peaches. When it comes to mangoes, I can tell this with experience, because I have tried mangoes from other countries as well. But if you haven't tried some specific breed of Pakistan's mangoes, then I would say that you haven't actually tasted the mangoes. They are so delicious. And with food, I would say that people are pretty open-hearted, and I would say that it is very easy to get free meal in Pakistan, even if it doesn't matter who you are. So there are so many private, personal, and government-run institutes as well, which provide free meal, and you can get it anywhere pretty easily. These are some of the famous dishes. So as you can see, there's meat everywhere. So we eat steaks, we eat barbecues, we eat a lot of rice, all filled with meat and fish and all those stuff. One good aspect of our society is charity. People, it's quite a known saying here that we pay less taxes, but we pay more in charity. One of the symbol of this is Abdul Sattar Eidi, who is a sort of national hero. He is internationally recognized as well. He managed introduce the largest ambulance network in the world, and that was all privately made. It was not supported by the government. So people are really generous when it comes to giving. Music is obviously a very important fabric of our culture. We have folk music, we have classical. So I personally don't know about the old music, but not recently, I would say, but we have a really vibrant culture of Coke Studio. So it is a sort of music which combines old music with modern instruments. And if you Google it, you will find that each video has literally millions of views. In terms of events, cultural wise, we have two main events. One is Eid al-Fitr, which is observed after a fasting period of 1 month. We meet with families, we wear new clothes. It's very colorful, and again, it all ends with food. Then the other is Eid al-Adha, where it gains its origin from Prophet Abraham, where we sacrifice animal and we distribute the meat among the relatives and the needy ones. Weddings are a very colorful and an important aspect of our culture. Normally, weddings here are very prolonged. They are very vibrant. Again, delicious foods, and all of these pictures are my own. So I recently had wedding of one of my sister and my brother. So all of these, we decorate our homes. This is me with my wife. This is my brother. This is my mother, and these are all our close family members. So we really enjoy our weddings. Music, fun, you name it, and they are pretty expensive. I remember that in the recent wedding, we arranged the dinner for around 500 people. So it really costs a fortune.
Wow.
With all,
Congratulations. It was beautiful, but yeah, it does look pricey.
yeah. So with all the good things, obviously we have challenges. There are some sort of realities with every country, and I guess one of the major problem we have is overpopulation. So I guess we are touching 250 million. We are just too many. So as a comparison, I recently Googled the population of Bulgaria, which comes out to be around 7 million. I was amazed, and I did this comparison. Again, it is not comparable to India, which is in billions, to China, but still 250 million people for our country. It is too much, and given the economic situation, it sometimes mostly we struggle with our healthcare system and all this stuff. We have unfortunately heavy defense spending. We have a strong military, capable military, but on the other hand, the political system is a bit fragile. Corruption
is it obligatory to go to the army, Munib?
No, it is not at all.
Okay.
But I would say one of the issue is our geopolitical location. Like we share a long border with neighboring India, and it is unfortunate, very unfortunate, that we are essentially same people. We listen to same music. We cherish same sports. I remember whenever I talk to Harshita, we don't speak in English. We talk in our local language, and we are pretty comfortable with this. But it is unfortunate that even with my family roots in India, we cannot travel to each other countries, which is and it is not among people. It is more about the interests of politics and military elite that we are apart. On the western side, we share a border with Afghanistan, which is volatile for decades. Up in the north, we share border with China, and down in the south, we share border with Iran. So things can get pretty complex. So these, as I told you earlier, I have a sort of obsession with mountains. So I visit every like 2 to 3 months. These are some of the pictures that most of these were taken by me. This is called the Osai National Park, which is the second highest plateau in the world after Tibet. That is the first one. It's a majestic place, and it is the only place where I personally experienced Milky Way sky in the night, which was really a unique experience. I have never, because it is located so up and there is no light pollution, so the sky was really majestic. This is Fairy Meadows. It is as beautiful as its name. It is home to Nanga Parbat, which is the 6th highest peak in the world. It is a beautiful place, and as you can see in the picture, it is not easy to get there. It's a jumpy ride, and it takes you to hike for like 6 hours, and then you reach the place, which is really beautiful. This is Minimug. It is located in the Kashmir side. Again, it's a beautiful place. Then this is Hunza Valley. It is one of my best. I have been this place to like 6 to 7 times. This place is, I would say that it is different even than the whole country. The people out here is so educated. They are very liberal, and it gives you a very comfortable feeling whenever I can live at this place forever, really. This is Kumrat Valley. I visited this with my family last year. This is a picture of me, my wife, and 2 of my supercharged kids. So that's pretty much all. So if you want to know anything, if you have any questions, I am here.
Thank you so much. You really showed us really amazing, beautiful things. So yeah, it was really interesting, and I understand why you focus so much on the army. You have a point there too. Okay, Mishu, do you want to go next?
Sure. Just let me know if you can see my screen. Can you see it?
Yep, yes, we can.
Okay, so I will not present a country, but rather community, the Roma community. So where do we come from? That's the question. Nobody knows. Even we don't know really, or the scholars. The precise time of leaving India, the home country of the Roma community, is not known. It could be from the early 8th century or the early 10th century. On the map you can see it says 9th century, but the first actually notes of Roma are from the Byzantium, from the Eastern Roman Empire in the early 8th century. In Bulgaria, the community was present since 11th century. That's for sure. There is a very long history because of being in Europe for more than 1,000 years. That's a lot. We never had a country actually We never had our own state or a kingdom or whatever. We were always the communities were always moving. They were traders, blacksmiths, and other professionals. But the persecutions that the community faced during different times in history are awful. You can see some of the most prominent persecutions. For example, the Roma slavery in Wallachia, which is basically Romania, nowadays Romania, is longer than the slavery in the US. So the Roma in Romania were slaves for longer than the people in the US. And during the Second World War, the Nazis killed between 500,000. Some estimates, recent estimates, says that about 1 million Roma were killed, which means about 25 to 50% of the whole Roma community in Europe, basically. Even though we are now the biggest minority in Europe with more than 10 million representatives. However, about 4 million of the Roma people in Europe speak the Roma language, which is very interesting because actually we don't have our own language. There we have dialects, basically. And the interesting part is that on a very basic level, almost all Roma can understand each other. Even though I could be from Bulgaria, I can talk with somebody from Germany, France, even the UK, and on very basic level, we can understand each other. And you know, we have our own roots in the Sanskrit language, which is the oldest language in the world. And on a also very basic language, I can understand some words from Hindi and Punjabi. For example, water is pani, which is also pani in our language. Yak is fire or eye. Kan is ear. So the very basic words you can understand each other. We have our own symbols. For example, 8th of April is the International Roma Day. On that day in 71, people from the different delegates from different countries in Europe gathered in London, in the UK, and decided that we need a flag, we need an anthem, we have our own anthem, we need a movement, Roma movement. The flag, I think you can see it. It's basically two stripes with blue and green representing the sky and the earth, and the wheel, which is a cartwheel, or also could be a chakra, connecting us with our Indian origin. Interesting thing about the language is we contributed to Bulgarian language as well. For example, if you have a girlfriend or boyfriend, you call them gađe, right? It comes from Roma language actually, because gađo means somebody who is outside of our community, non-Roma basically. And because of traditions and you know, history, young Roma boys prefer to have girlfriends who are non-Roma before marrying a Roma girl, and they were asking each other, "Oh, so this is your gađe," which means non-Roma, you know, your girl, and that just sticked in the language. Also, we contribute to English. Lollipop, for example, is coming from lollipabai, which is a red apple, the candy red apples. And some famous Roma people, Elvis Presley, notably a very famous musician. Kubitschek is actually very interesting because he is, if I'm not mistaken, 21st president of Brazil, and his mother was Roma from Czech Republic. Charlie Chaplin, of course, Andrea Pirlo. If somebody is interested in football, they know Pirlo is a huge name. Ibrahimovic, of course, Cantona, Hagi, and some musicians like Esma Recepova, very famous people whose origin is known to be Roma. There are people, for example, like Picasso, whose origin is debated. So we don't really know if he's Roma or not, but for this, we for sure know that they are Roma. We cannot go, without the weddings. Weddings are very colorful, very important for the community. They could span from 1 to basically 3 days, like whole 3 days of music. Music is very important for the community as well. Colorful dresses, a lot of traditions within the weddings. As you can see here on the bottom picture of the girl, she has this painting on her forehead. The people are very focused on gifts. We have basically the girl, has 3 different wedding dresses for the 3 different days. One day is celebrated in the boys' family, then the second day is the celebration in the girls' family, then is the combined wedding. Weddings are huge, usually more than 300 people, even more. That's the official part. In the restaurant, you can have more than 300 people, but in the neighborhood, you could have more than 500 even. The huge weddings. However, with time and traditions are changing, people don't tend to have such huge weddings anymore. The other actually interesting thing is why do we call the Roma community Roma, right? Or as most people know, not only in Bulgaria but in Europe in general, we have terms like gypsies, tsigani. Actually, it comes from a foreign word from the past, from Greek atsinganos, which basically means untouchable. Why untouchable? Scholars are debating, but basically the consensus is that people who were Roma, they were practicing black magic, or at least the locals thought that they were practicing black magic. That's why if you touch such person, it could cast a magic on you, or it's a dirty person in terms of your religion. It's a person that you don't want to befriend or whatever. However, these are foreign terms. Gypsies, because of British, they thought Roma people are coming from Egypt. That's why Egypt, gypsies. However, the correct term is Roma, even though some Roma communities in Bulgaria would debate it. But in the language, if you think about it, it's within the language. For example, if I want to call myself I'm a man, I'm Roma. Or if I ask you, are you a Roma? Are you a man? I can ask you tu sean Rom, tu sean Rumi, which means are you a woman? It's very patriarchal, structure of the language because it's very old. But if you want to say a man or a people, a group of people, you call Roma or Rom. Rom is for one person, and Roma are for plural, for many people, basically.
And Mikhail, what is the origin of this word? Is it something to do with Romans or the Roman Empire, or it's nothing to do with that?
No, nothing to do with the Romans. Actually, the Roma, politically speaking, we use the term Roma. However, that is not very correct because there is not such thing as one cohesive Roma community. It's basically a lot of different smaller communities. Even within our Roma communities, we divide ourselves. For example, one community would not marry people from a separate, very concrete other community. It's like the caste system in India. There were three. If we go back to the map, there were three main waves, let's say, of immigration. The three waves were called. One was Rom, the second was Lom and Dom. Roma were the ones that entered Europe through Byzantine Empire. Dom were the wave that entered Russia basically from Central Asia, and Lom were the community that actually went through Egypt, all the North Africa, and entered Spain. So that's why it's Roma. There is no like concrete understanding why it's Rom, but it's three different communities. It just happens that our community Rom entered Europe through Byzantine and then Bulgaria, and that name stick basically.
I think Gala
Yeah.
has a question.
I'm open for questions. Yes. Feel
Yes,
free.
thank you. I've noticed that when you were explaining the etymology of the word Roma, and giving an example in your language, actually you used Italian to say Roma, to say Romina. How come?
I don't think, I don't know. Actually, I don't know, but there are very similar words that the local communities tend to, use the local language, for example, for more sophisticated language. But on very basic level, as I said, everybody in Europe can understand each other more or less, besides Finland and, Roma in this part of Northern Europe. They're very different. Because we have Sinti, we have other communities more prominent, but yeah, for example, how we count from 1 to 10, it matches with Hindi and then with Greek. For example, 1 is ek, dui, trin, star, panch, shov, efta, ochto, eya, desh. Right, different communities, for example, say enya and deha, or besides dash, but different communities tend to lend or use or combine their language with the local languages.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Michelle.
you.
It was very
Plus-
interesting.
Plus, if you think about it, Roma were basically entering Europe through the Byzantine Empire, so it was Latin, I guess, and it could, like the Latin languages could tend to match with the. Yeah, that's the interesting part. The Roma language is a combination of different languages. We have from India, then we have a lot of words from Persia. We have a lot of words from Armenia. It's a combination, basically.
All right, that explains the things. Thank you.
Yes, and it's very interesting how it preserved the language.
That's
And
yeah.
also involved.
Without any state to protect or
Yes.
for more than 1,000 years, the language was evolving, but still saved in a way.
Yes, and I'm happy that I saw the flag for the first time today. Thank you. Okay, Vesco, do you want to go now?
Okay, the
I-
words for last.
No, I saved you for last because we
No,
talked
no problem. I'm
that-
kidding.
No, we talked that you're gonna mention something about Kufteta, and after Masha's
No.
presentation, no, okay, because I know it's lunchtime and everyone's probably hungry, so we all
If you
yours.
start talking about Kyofteta, it's good we don't have any Iranians or Turks in the team because they will start complaining.
But I do want the next Pizza Thursday to be Ukrainian based, after what we saw. I want cinnamons, please.
But we'll do it.
No, but they will order it from this cinnamon place. Or,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not signing up to make it. I mean,
Yeah.
we can arrange it.
So, do you see only my presentation? So, okay,
Yes.
whatever. So, all of these presentations were very informative, and my will be not. as informative as the others. So sorry about that. But let's start. First, before we talk about any customs we have to establish that we as a country are just, very, very diverse. We were established 1400 years ago, and our ancestors came here and they were like, we are going to do this country which is only for Bulgarian. And then they included everyone that was here and continue including everyone that was coming in the next 1400 years. So there you go, very homogenic society, very original, and all our customs are someone else's customs, and we cannot even trace from where and from when, but we have them. And in a way, if you want to see what immigrants are going to do to your country, if you are afraid or something, take a look at Bulgaria. When you invite a lot of people, just give them a century or two and they become, the same as you. So with that in mind, let's continue to our custom. So first of all, this custom that I'm going to present, this is not like really, really popular custom that is done everywhere in Bulgaria. It's done on places here and there, and that's why I decided that probably the god of random customs that is deciding where we're going to do stealing of the bride as a custom in weddings and when we are not. And apparently Oprah was the only one. When you write god of random customs in Google, and her face pops up, so that's why I put her. Anyway, stealing of the bride. So what is the stealing of the bride? This is a custom that is, right before the wedding, when the best men have to go to the bride's house and try to steal her. And they need to, take her and send her to the wedding. But of course, the bridesmaid job is to, not to allow them. And this becomes a game where they try to sneak in, or they try to bribe in, or everything that is not violent. Apparently, I don't know why. Probably because they don't want to get shot by the fathers, the bride. Anyway, whatever. So it turns into a game which usually resolves into bribing, and it usually involves in the best man paying to the bridesmaid so they can enter the house and they can lead the bride outside and into the wedding. And what's interesting is that in many Western societies they have this understanding that you should not see the bride before marry her on the altar. Well, when you do this custom, usually the groom will see the bride before that. So that's kind of diverse, and original. But it's an interesting custom. It can spawn for several hours or a whole day of drinking and just negotiating between the two groups, and it's usually very, very funny to look at it outside. I have been once to such thing, and it was pretty fun. So that's about it about the custom. I told you, not very informative. So let's get into the cooking. And because I'm not going to cook any meatballs, and it's summer, and I wanted to present something that it's really, really, really popular in Bulgaria, and it's not like really known a lot outside of the Balkans, at least. It's called tarator.
I knew it would be this.
Of course, it's
Me too.
tarator. Yeah,
The
of course.
best ever meal, summer meal.
That's it. So it looks like tzatziki, but it's not a tzatziki, because the tzatziki is actually, better. No, I'm kidding. I'm saying the look of over here. No, it's tzatziki, but you add water. So you make a soup from the salad. And
it's a tzatziki soup. Thank you, Vesco. I've been telling this to my friends like for 20 years now.
No,
It's
I
tzatziki
deny.
soup.
I'm not going to confirm your argument, but apparently the Bulgarian ingenuity got a hold on the tzatziki, and they were like, "What if we add water? We can sell it double for the price of one, you know. So they added water and it turned out beautiful because it's much better than tzatziki as a taste, and it's one of the greatest things you can do in the summer. Like cold tarator, it's really, really refreshing in the heat wave that it's right now and that it's going to be ongoing for the next 40 years or so. So how do we make tarator? Well, it's really easy. It's as easy as the word that you're reading up there, and I'm not going to read this word. So whatever, you try it on your own. You add yogurt, and the Greeks call it yogurt. We call it sour milk. But you know, you add this, you add cucumbers, you add oil and salt, and that's it. And then mix it up, and you can eat it. But one very important thing: the cucumbers should be chopped on squares, on cubicles. Never slice them, because if you slice them, you have some kind of a I don't know, seaweed, milky, gross thing. Never do that. Never do that.
There is a huge divide in Bulgaria about this.
There is no huge divide.
Yeah, it's a fight. Huge
It's a fight, yes. And but
It's-
you forgot to mention the garlic, the dill,
Yeah,
and
well,
the,
yeah, they're listed below because everyone is adding their own touch to this thing, and there's actually apparently in Gabrovo they're adding shredded boiled egg to the tarator. If you can imagine this thing.
There
Ew.
is
But
also a vegan version, Vesco,
with what? Without
with cashew
everything.
milk.
Yeah, I will try it when I become vegan.
You know, in
You know.
Gabrovo, I would expect people to subtract ingredients, not
Yeah,
add extra.
exactly.
Yeah. Well, they are diverse like that, So remember, yogurt, and it needs to be sour, because they're selling a lot of sweetened yogurt and stuff. Never do that. It should not be sweetened. Cucumbers chopped, again, chopped. Very important thing. It's very important because if you don't chop your cucumbers, it's actually against the law in Bulgaria. It's very important thing. It's a crime. Never chop, never peel them. As the saying goes, peelers are losers. Yeah, don't do it. Anyway, so that's it. Do try it. Tarator is really, 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 really good. Really tasty. I highly recommend it. It doesn't look as good as it tastes, but it's great. That's it from me and from Bulgaria. And actually, this is everything that you should know about Bulgaria. We are stealing the brides and we are eating tarator.
and you forgot the shopska salata.
No,
This is a
I
crime.
haven't forgot
waiting
anything.
for
And
the
buza, Vesco. We have a very big lover of buza here. This is Spiros. He can't live without buza.
And
He can share his
banica.
first experience. Yeah.
Probably, I should mention our biggest custom, our biggest tradition is we all have opinion. Everything.
On everything.
Yeah. If you tell a joke in Bulgaria, like 90% of the people will tell you, "Oh, I know this joke, but it's a bit different." This is a tradition, and we love this tradition. So, and here we go for 20 more years of innovation and Tarator. That's it. Any questions?
I'm speechless with all
Ah,
the questions.
You
Thank you
forgot
so
about
much.
Rakia, Vesco, the most important bit.
well, to be fair, neither Busan nor Rakia are ours as a drink. We can trace their roots, to Turkey for both of them, I think, and stuff like that. But yeah, we do love both of them.
Like you have the tradition of stealing the brides, we have a tradition of stealing the groom's shoes. So whenever, like in an Indian wedding, when we do the fairas, the 7 rounds around the fire, so the bridesmaids, they try to steal the shoes of the groom, and for getting back those shoes, he has to give like bribe to all the bridesmaids, no matter how many, and it's always like a lot of money. And also after the wedding, when the bride and groom, they leave for their venue, then again, also the bridesmaid stops them and asks them for money for leaving the venue. So it's a lot of bribing in Indian weddings too.
So a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think maybe this is popular for all the weddings. Like whenever there is a wedding, there's gonna be a lot of money involved.
And stealing. And
Yeah.
stealing.
And in
Yeah.
general, I just want to say I really support traditions that include giving money to women.
Yes.
Keep
Just
participating
because.
in those.
Just because.
Give us money.
I would like to add a small part of the wedding tradition, which is when the two young people have already been married, during the ceremony, right after, one of the two has to be rather quick to step over the foot of the other one. This way, he or she declare who will be the master of the house and of the family, kind of. So I think this also is a nice way of
Showing
expressing the
dominions.
family.
They also
Yes,
have the breaking.
who will be
of the-
dominating? Yes. who
Yeah,
will
they also have
dominate.
like the breaking of the bread. There's like a big circle bread that they put on their heads and they break it, and whoever gets the bigger part is who's gonna be the boss in the relationship. And what Vesco said, of course, this is like an old custom, I think. They don't do it very often, but yeah, the husband to be should actually fill the shoe of the bride with money, and that's why oftentimes the shoe is open so they can take the money and it can never be filled.
Mm.
And they let him in whenever they're satisfied with the amount. Any
What's
other?
interesting for me is how many of these customs are like really pagan in nature, but they're completely,
Mm.
integrated in the Christian wedding. There's like, oh, you're stealing the bride. Okay, this is actually quite normal. Jesus did that, so you should do it too. Steal the bride. It's like
Yeah.
what?
Yeah, it's not really like paying for her. It's not really like stealing her. It's like a play pretend game, but the money are real.
Yeah.
There are no monopoly money.
I think Jesus was a bit smart. He never got married, Vesco. So Jesus
Yeah.
didn't do it.
Clever man.
He stayed a
But,
bachelor.
well, in the end, not so clever, but clever
Actually,
man.
I believe they just didn't give him the opportunity to live that long to experience the
Like
joy
33.
of, yeah,
Oh.
still.
He was like, I'm out clubbing. I will be married in my 40s. And then,
Yep.
yeah.
I mean, this, of course, is part of the joke, but
I have to join another call. Thank you so much for everyone who presented today, guys. That was very, very interesting. Thank you.
Okay, Spiros, thank you for joining. I also want to thank everyone for everything that you have shared, even to the ones who participate and the one who just joined to watch. Jana wrote us that there was some emergency, similar to what I was talking yesterday. There was some fire in the next apartment. So I think we're not gonna be hearing from her. I have a video from Argyros about the Greek culture, but since we're very ahead of the time, I'm just thinking of sending that video to you via email maybe next week. He also got a presentation and very interesting tips about what to do when you visit Greece, because it's a very popular tourist destination. So once again, thank you everyone.
Tony,
Have-
sorry,
yes?
maybe it will be good to ask Jana when things are calmer. If she